dreaming on a cloud with you like horizon. With you tonight is on an island. Yeah. It's about time for making.
Hey babes, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, my name is Amanda Kate, and today I'm coming to you from my new home office. It is my spare bedroom turned into home office because I am working from home. If you are a returning subscriber, first of all, thank you. Second of all, you've probably seen this transformation, but if you guys are interested, I do have a full video on my new home renovations and the changes I've made. So I'm hoping the lighting is not too dark. I do have a light on me just because it's very cloudy outside and I am in front of a window, but it just doesn't do it justice. So hopefully it's not too dark for you guys. This is Gucci. He is sitting on me, so he stays quiet. So I have a kind of different video for you guys today. I do have some notes in front of me. So I wrote down some ways that I stay organized and that I'm productive because it is such a huge part of my life. I used to be super disorganized and kind of be all over the place, but I found throughout the years, throughout being a student, I went to college, doesn't seem like it. I went to college and then I went to university, and now I have a full-time career, and through those I had to learn to be organized, to learn to manage my time, which is such a boring thing to say, like time management. Like I hate that sentence. It sounds like an old person telling me to manage my time better and then turn my assignments in. But it is such an important part of life if you want to especially be in a career and meet expectations, because you have to meet deadlines. So this is really good for students as well. So take from this what you will. This is just things that worked for me. I do get asked some questions like work and what I do and stuff, so I'm not going to get into all the details, but I will explain to you guys kind of the tips that I have found to make my life a little bit easier when I am working or when I am studying. So thankfully I am done school. I do not have any plans to go back, at least anytime soon, but this would help me if I was going back to school as well, especially working from home and just having that extra time to sit at home and you're close to the kitchen, you can eat when you want, you can kind of manage your time even better instead of running to different classes or having that travel time to school or to work. So those things have definitely helped me be a little bit more productive, because I wake up and I'm kind of already at work. So if that's not the case for you, these tips will still apply to you, because I developed these when I was taking the bus to go to school and when I was not working from home. So again, these are just my tips and tricks that have worked for me, so if you're interested, then keep on watching. So disclaimer, these are not in any particular order. I was just up one night writing these, and whatever came into my mind, I kind of organized into 5 different categories. So we'll go through each one and I'll just kind of explain different tips for you guys, and I'll put them on screen as well if I have an example of how I do this. The first category is to plan everything. Sometimes I think I plan a little bit too much, so you still want to be flexible, because if you plan everything and you don't have any flexibility and your friends want to hang out, you're never going to see your friends because you're not flexible, because you're I have to do this at this time, I have to do. So as long as you get all your tasks accomplished, my mom always taught me, get everything done that needs to be done, and then you can have fun. So I would always go home, do my homework, do whatever I needed to do, and then I could go out and have fun and play with my friends. So planning is definitely a very, very useful tip, but I am still flexible. So if someone sends me a message and they want to go to a movie or something, I know that this slot of time I can change and I can go to the movies as long as this still gets done. So that helps with planning as well, because then you're not just oh yeah, I'm just gonna do this and do that, and then you're oh my gosh, I have an assignment due tomorrow and I haven't started it. And so yeah, that stress, I just can't deal with that one. So I plan everything on my calendar. So I use the Apple Calendar, but some people prefer the Google Calendar. There's so many different apps out there. I've tried a lot of apps out there for calendar and organizing my life, but I just prefer the Apple Calendar. I've reverted back to that one, and I use a color, not a color coding, but an emoji coding, just because you can't really highlight things in different color. But when I was in school and I was doing my calendar in my agenda, so with a paper, I would highlight different color codes. So if I had like, let's say if it was an exam and it was important, I would put in pink so it would like pop out. If it was payday, I would put in green because it's like money. Just like little fun things too, like if you're having like friends over, let's say, you can put into different colors. So I will show you guys my color code on the screen, my like emoji code I like to call it, because that helps me kind of break down everything in my calendar and figure out what's what. So as soon as I see that little emoji, I know like if it's a pink heart, it's something that I like to do. So it's hang out with my friends, hang out with my family, something that I'm enjoying. And then if it's, let's say, a little dollar sign, that means that there's like a payment due. So if I have something to pay that day, I know, and I also write in that payment what account it's coming from, so I know if it's an automatic withdrawal to like leave money in that account. So just like very, very detailed things. And once you have those all set up, it's a lot easier. This sounds like so much like blah 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 because it's just like words, but I'm very visual, so once you physically do it, it's a lot easier. And then once it's set up, you don't have to worry about like paying things on time. Just kind of go with the flow and live your life, and it's all organized already. So as long as you keep up with it, it's like stress-free, and I love a stress-free life. So I don't know if you guys are the same, but yeah, thinking about all those things just takes up too much space in my brain. The next tip I have is actually something I've learned in my career. So if you're planning something, so let's say you have a doctor's appointment, I will put in the appointment, and then I will put in the notes section the doctor's like phone number, the address. I always put in the address, so when I'm on my way there, if I get lost or if I have no idea where I'm going, I can easily just click and see where I'm going, so the GPS will take me there. And the phone number is super useful if you need to cancel or reschedule. It's all already there, and it's all organized in that little section, so you don't have to like go in your contacts. And if you're stressed that you can't make it on time, or you're gonna be late, or like you're trying to Google it and it's not working, you just have it all already in that section. I've already talked a little bit about my payments. So if I have any bills due, I write the date that it's due. So let's say it's like a monthly payment, I will put that it's a monthly transaction, and then I will write the amount and the account that it's coming from. Another thing I like to plan out are my groceries and my household items, so that I never run out of anything. So especially if there's something like on sale, I sound like my mom, but I'll like buy 2 of them if I know that I like the product, so that let's say like something happens and I can't run out to the grocery store or, you know, Walmart or something, I have extras, so I never run out of anything. And this is not always possible for some people, especially like financially, so that I totally understand. It is just like good to plan things out, especially if you don't want to waste anything. When I first moved out by myself, so last year, I would buy so many groceries and I would have to end up throwing a lot of them out because I wouldn't eat them on time, because I would just be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna make all these meals, and like, oh, I'm gonna get this, I'm gonna get that, and then I would actually waste money because I wasn't planning on my meals, and I wouldn't end up cooking the food and it would go bad. So especially if you live alone, this is like a really good tip to plan out your meals, because I always say I'm gonna eat all these things and like I never eat them all. So the second category is to make lists. Now girl, I have lists for my list. I'm like a crazy list person, and sometimes I like list too many things, like there's like too much going on, so I have to find a way to like make these lists work for themselves, if that makes sense. So what I love doing for my groceries is I use Flip. So it's a grocery like list app basically, and through that you can find sales if you're into that, like coupons and stuff. So you'll like write apples, and then you can click on it and it'll go into like where all the apples are on sale in your area. So different things like that. This is like not sponsored at all. This is just like what I like to use for my grocery list. I do have a full video about how I grocery shop and what apps I use, so if you're interested, then check that one out. Also write a list of like everything I need to do for, like I have a to-do list and then I have a today list. So in my to-do list is like general things, like there's sometimes it's like a date, like book Gucci's vaccines, and then it's like I know like it's next year because it's like once a year, so I'll have like the date, and then a few months ahead of time it'll send me a reminder. And I love the ones that like pop up, so I'll put like a date, a time, sometimes it's a place too, like in the reminders app on the iPhone you can put that like when you're leaving your house or when you're texting someone specific, it'll pop up and it'll send you the reminder. So those ones are really good because I forget to go in the reminder app to check what I have to do. So it's really good to have those like automatic ones, and it pops up and you're like, oh yeah, today's the day that I have to do this. So those ones are really good. As soon as I think of something I have to do on a certain day, I write it down. I write everything down and then I don't have to remember anything. The third category is to declutter. I love decluttering. You guys know me, you know that like I declutter all the time. Like every time I have a friend over, it could be like every second day I'll have an item for them, be like, do you want this? I'll tell my mom, do you want this? Like, I don't need this anymore. I also put a lot of my old clothes. Some of them are brand new with tags, never worn, and jewelry and some clutch purses. I have some sunglasses. I have like so many different things on my Poshmark. It is linked down below. A lot of you guys have actually bought items from there, so thank you. But yeah, I will just like declutter all the time, especially because it's my first year of like living by myself, so I had to buy everything new. So I needed furniture, I needed like all these things, so I bought them all when I moved in. And then throughout the year, I was like, oh, well, this doesn't really match, or I found something that fits better in this spot, so I would like sell these items. So I'm just like always going in like a constant decluttering mode. So I love it, and you feel so good afterwards, and you can actually make money decluttering, so that's like a plus. Fourth like category is just kind of like a little tip in passing, is to keep everything together. So I did mention this in when I do my like appointments, to have everything together. So the contact, the name, the phone number, the address, but it works also for like the contact cards. So when you have like, when you add someone into your contacts, you can put all their information in there. So you have like their email, their phone number, their birthday. I love putting people's birthdays, like my friends and stuff, because then it'll like show in my calendar, it'll pop up and I know it's the birthday. So yeah, to add like everything and have them all together so that all your info is like at the same place. I find that super helpful. You don't have to look different places and then you forget where you put it. So having everything at the same spot for each person, if that makes sense. And I also sync my devices for this to happen. So my calendar is the same everywhere. My contacts are the same, my notes, my reminders. And I write everything down in my notes. I have like different notes for different categories, so I'll show you guys some examples of them, but I literally write so many things in my notes. And then the last category is to start a routine. Routine, oh my gosh, this word, I've been hearing this word since I was a little, because you know, toddlers need a routine, and then it's just, it's grown on me. A routine has definitely grown on me. Sometimes it's impossible, sometimes I'll plan stuff and then it'll just kind of like go out the window and I'll do different things instead. But a routine is super, super helpful, especially if you have kids. I don't have kids, but I can only imagine. I was a kid once. And yeah, a routine is very, very helpful. And this also helps when you have everything organized where it should be. Number one thing I hate doing is looking for something. I hate losing things. I don't know if you guys are the same, but if I lose something, I like go crazy. I'm like, what? Like, how could I have lost this? It's so simple. So I always put everything back where it's supposed to be. Like when I walk into my house, my keys are in my key holder. My purse is where it's supposed to be. If I take something out of like my wallet, let's say, and then I like just leave it there, I will lose it. So I always put it back exactly where it should be. And a routine also lets you plan to never be late. I have such a problem with like being late, especially growing up, and my mom was always late for everything, so she would make me late. But now that I'm an adult and I have like people expect things from me and I have to show up for, you know, appointments and stuff, I always try to show up a little bit earlier. And if you don't know where you're going, a good tip is to go the night before and kind of like drive around and see, okay, like this is the parking and this is where I'm gonna be, especially for new jobs. If you have a new job and you have no idea where you're going, go check it out like a few days ahead of time and, you know, find out like where you're gonna be and find out where you can park and different things like that, so that you know when you get there, like you're prepared, you know exactly what's going on. I just like to be overly prepared in case anything happens. All of a sudden, like that parking lot is shut down because there's construction, and then like, oh my gosh, what do I do? Like, I hate those situations. I get so stressed out for those situations. So I just like to be overly prepared. Maybe I'm like too much. Like, obviously this is not, like, this will not please everybody to be this way, but this is just what works for me. And it might sound a little bit crazy, but I actually plan out my laundry days as well, my cleaning days. I plan out when I'm gonna spray tan. I plan out everything, especially if I go like, let's say I'm like sleeping at someone's house for a weekend or I'm away or whatever happens, I like to clean my house and do my laundry before I leave, so that in those like 3 days or whatever, when I come back, I don't have to walk into my house and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to do laundry, I have to do this, I have to do groceries, I start work on Monday. Like, it's just already done. So obviously groceries, like, do it the day before because like you don't want them to go bad, but I love to walk into a clean house, everything is like done, and I'm also a huge clean freak, like OCD 101. So when I leave my house, I make sure everything is done to the best of my abilities. Obviously, if I have to leave in a rush, I'm not gonna be like making my bed and like, you know, someone's waiting for me outside. It also helps to have a routine to just feel accomplished. When I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is make my bed. I get like things done, so then next time I walk in my room, my bed's already made, I feel accomplished. I did one task today and now I can move on to the other ones. Sometimes I'm doing 2 tasks at once. I'm brushing my teeth, I'm emptying the dishwasher. I'm just like, I'm on it so that I can just be ready, be prepared, and when I have to start my work day, let's say, I'm starting my work day. I don't have to like run and do this. And I know that this is like, we obviously don't have the same lives. You guys, you know, might have kids or husbands or, you know, different things like that. So this is just what works for me. If you can take anything from this, I hope this could help you, especially if you are disorganized. I don't like being disorganized because in my head, I feel like I'm just like all over the place and I don't know what's what, and I'm trying to prioritize and it's not working. So I think I read it or I heard it years ago, and it was psychologists like studied the human brain and organization in teenagers, and they said that a teenager's room reflects what their brain is going through. And I find that it's so true. Like when I was a teenager and I was going through whatever I was going through, and I have videos explaining it if you're interested in like diving deep into what that was. But my room, like if you look at old pictures of me, my room was a mess because mentally I was a mess. So when I started to, you know, work on myself and get help for whatever I was going through, I found it super helpful to be organized. And the first thing I would do is get organized. I would make my bed, I would, you know, do everything I needed to, and then I was like ready for the day. I was ready mentally. I could focus on one thing at a time and figuring out my priorities. So it just really helps to like, to the point that I would plan out my outfits for the next day so that when I wake up, I know what I'm wearing. I'm not stressed about like what I'm wearing, and I would try it on the night before if I wasn't sure if it was gonna fit, so that the next day I don't have like, you know, like panic, like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna wear? Because that is a real problem. So I know that this was like so much information, but I hope that you guys could take at least one little point out of this. I am just an extremely organized person. I'm very OCD, and these are tips that have definitely helped me. I've had friends and family ask me how I stay organized, so I thought I would share it with you guys. So on that note, I will end this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Definitely leave a like if you have found something helpful in this. Let me know in the comment section if you're an organized person or a disorganized person, or what your routine is to stay organized. I would love to get some new ideas. I am also doing a 2,000 subscriber giveaway, so as soon as we get there, I will give something away. I'm not sure what, so let me know what you guys want. All of the details will be on my Instagram, which is at Brunetteprincesse. I have all my other socials linked down below as well. My discount codes are linked there, so check them out if you want to save money or make money while shopping. And as always, I love you, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys!